What's up, anime connoisseurs? Thank you for clicking on this video, and as proof of my gratitude, in return you should also directly get what you're here for, so let's get right into it. Ever since the Grand Priest and Zeno were introduced in Dragon Ball Super, many have wondered what dynamic the duo holds. Is it similar to the relationship between the angels and the gods of destruction, or do they have a special connection that we haven't seen before? Like everyone else, of course, I can't say for sure, but I'd like to go through the arguments of both sides and finally share my opinion on the matter. Let's go! We all know that the angels are much stronger than their respective gods of destruction. They have a whole arsenal of different abilities that go far beyond.
Have you tried hitting them harder?
Such as traveling between universes, rewinding time, and even resurrecting mortals, to name a few. The gods of destruction, on the other hand, have really only proven themselves in, well, destroying. The Grand Priest is obviously also of the angelic race and has also shown in unison with the other angels that he can do much more than just hit hard. Here are a few things that he has already demonstrated to be able to do. Telepathic communication across all universes, teleportation of participants for the Tournament of Power, creation of the arena for the tournament, and there was something else I think. Oh yes, creation of the whole infinite dimension in which it is located. The so-called World of Void is a place outside of the multiverse that is essentially devoid of both time and space and is an infinite nothingness. He produces it within a few moments, even if he then claims that he still needs a while to finish the arena. Then there are such sleight of hand tricks as reducing the size of the spectator seats. This is either Dragon Ball magic or good old matter manipulation. It probably doesn't matter anyway, because at this point it's safe to assume that he's very good at both. What have we seen from Zeno until now? Zeno has so far only shown deeds similar to those of a multiversal god of destruction, with one tiny exception, but more on that later. He has erased Future Trunks' whole timeline. He also wiped out 6 other universes of the timeline we know, that's why we only get to see 12, even though there have been 18 before. During the Tournament of Power, he also erased all other participating universes before number 17 wished them back. Looks like a usual destroyer god to me, just with more firepower. These are already clear parallels to the angel-destroyer dynamic. Reinforcing this is the fact that in the manga, Whis claims that the Grand Priest is the strongest being in the multiverse. In the anime, however, he merely says within the top 5 strongest beings. Unfortunately, both versions are officially classified as canon, making this very confusing. If we stick to the manga though, things seem very clear. Now to other not so clearly interpretable clues. The Grand Priest is the only one who doesn't seem to be afraid of Zeno. When Goku visits Zeno for the first time, everyone wets their pants while Goku talks to Zeno in his usual unabashed manner. Only the Grand Priest finds it amusing. Furthermore, there are 2 Zenos but only 1 Grand Priest. Zeno can therefore already not be omnipresent, which speaks against the theory of an omnipotent god. For the Grand Priest, on the other hand, the possibility of omnipresence theoretically remains. Additionally, the Grand Priest is the literal father of the angels. At least Whis addresses him as such in the anime episode 67. Now a little digression. Angels in the teachings of the 3 major monotheistic Abrahamic religions of Christianity, Islam and Judaism are higher beings created directly by God. I think that the angels in Dragon Ball Super who watch over the balance of the universe find their inspiration in the aforementioned religions, as there are no angels of this kind in Shintoism and Buddhism to my knowledge. So, if in the 3 mentioned religions God created the angels, and in Dragon Ball Super the Grand Priest is the father, so in a sense the creator of the angels, one could conclude that this elevates the Grand Priest to the role of the almighty god of the Dragon Ball Super universe. His power over the angels is also seen in the Moro arc, when he first erases mirrors for interfering too much in worldly events on Earth. To the next point, Zeno also shows more limits to his power, besides the fact that he doesn't seem to be omnipresent or omniscient. When the gods of destruction fight in the manga, they are too fast, so Zeno can't follow the fight and loses interest. The Grand Priest, of course, not only has no problem with this, but then stops 2 of the gods of destruction with 1 finger each, showing us that he isn't bad in the hit really hard department either. But let us now come to the evidence that speaks against the usual angel-destroyer relationship between the Grand Priest and Zeno. The Grand Priest does not seem to be omniscient himself. A simple example. In the Destroyer exhibition match, he asks for a simple piece of information about how many transformations Goku has, a character he has already met several times at that point. And there are other comments at other times where he asks for information as well. Thus, he is either not omniscient or a very good actor. While one could say that the Grand Priest could possibly be omnipresent as opposed to Zeno, that's just a guess. Just as well, one could say that future Zeno may have erased him along with the timeline, even though the palace in which he resides is quite far outside the 12 universes. Also, there's Whi's statement from the anime in which he describes the Grand Priest as only a member of the top 5 strongest beings in the multiverse. This would significantly diminish the likelihood of the theory that he is more powerful than Zeno compared to the manga statement. Zeno is also differentiated from all the other gods of destruction by the fact that, despite his power, he neither fights nor is able to fight. He simply wields a gigantic power within him that functions like a multiversal delete button, nothing more. But there's one other little ability Zeno seems to have that was mentioned earlier and that shouldn't be available to him from the usual skill sets of the gods of destruction. He also seems to be able to create things out of nothing. So out of thin air he creates the button that can teleport Goku to him or him to Goku. Also, the lives of the gods of destruction are intertwined with the lives of the Supreme Kais to ensure balance between creation and destruction. In regards to Zeno, no such link to any other god has ever been mentioned. The only thing that has so far been able to stop Zeno's destruction through restoration has been the Super Dragonballs. Since the rule that has been repeatedly confirmed so far is that the dragons of the Dragon Balls can only accomplish what is within the power of the creator, one can conclude that Zalama, the dragon god, the creator of the gigantic Dragon Balls, must be at least as powerful as Zeno. So could he be Zeno's counterpart? While that is a fun theory, there is no concrete evidence for that. But then again, there's the other thing. Zeno destroyed an entire timeline. So, insofar as he had a link with another god of the timeline, it wouldn't be that unlikely that Zeno would destroy the other god as well, and thus himself. But of course, this did not happen. Why? Well, this can have different reasons. For example, Zeno's life may simply not be linked to any other god. Or unlike the usual gods of destruction, the god linked to Zeno might have been stronger than Zeno, thus being able to resist his power. Another reason might be that the residence of the other god is in a dimension outside the known one, similar to the world of Void, so that the erasure of the usual universes in Trunks' timeline did not reach him. Well, the more you think about it, the more factors that could play a role come to mind. As you can see, it becomes very speculative, but these are only some reasons that make the seemingly plausible sounding thesis about the dynamic between the Grand Priest and Zeno seem not that clear anymore. Well, what's my conclusion? It's complicated, but if I had to choose, I would say that in my opinion the arguments for the Grand Priest are a bit more coherent. Whi's statement in the manga about his power, his incredible ability to create an infinite dimension in seconds, his indifference to Zeno compared to everyone else, and the fact that he is the father of the angels are all very strong arguments to me that Zeno and the Grand Priest have more of an angel-destroyer relationship and the balance of power that comes with it. But of course, I could be wrong. But we'll find out eventually. Otherwise, we'll all go to Zeno, the actual all-powerful and all-knowing god of the Dragon Ball verse, and ask politely. Which already brings me to the end. Thanks for clicking the video and special thanks if you actually watched the whole thing until the end. Until next time, peace out.